All right, so today I'm going to be ranking every single build I have used in Elden Ring PvP, but a couple disclaimers before I get into it. I'm well aware that some of these builds have received buffs and nerfs. I will try to take that into account. However, where I rank these builds will be based on more of my personal experience from whenever I use them, and I will not be including any builds from the build submissions videos. If you guys would like to see what I think of those builds, I will leave each of those videos down in the description and you can go check them out. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's get right into it, starting with the Banished Knight build. I don't think this is any secret. This is definitely an S tier build. I was rocking dual Banished Knight greatswords with cold affinity, very good fashion, just hard-hitting attacks, very easy to use. You can switch between one hand and two hand, two different Ashes of War. Super solid build. And greatswords have seen plenty of buffs, so I think this build will be even stronger now. Okay, so the Bernahl build is next, and this one's quite interesting because it was actually two builds in one. You had the War Master Shack version with the Zweihander, then the Beast Champion version with the Devourer's Scepter. From my experience, all right, and I used this while Crouch Poke was still good, I have to take that into account that it got nerfed. I think this build now is resting between B and C. I think I'm gonna put it C. The Devourer's Scepter wasn't bad. It was a fun weapon to use. It hit decently hard, and the weapon art wasn't bad. You get some health back, and then the Zweihander without Crouch Poke, it's worse now. It's still usable. It's still fine. Like with Crouch Poke, I mean, this could maybe squeak its way up to A, but I think now it's gonna just rest in C tier. Ooh, the Black Knife Assassin build. I remember I had dual Black Knives and Darkness, I believe, to cover the weapon art, so it would kind of mess up people's timings. This build, I think it's a B tier, honestly. Most people will kind of trash on dagger builds. Personally, I really like them. You kind of just have to build them right or use, you know, the correct daggers. I think Black Knife, fantastic dagger. Dual wielding them, you shred. If people roll through the weapon art, they can still get the health debuff. The weapon art is very solid. It's very quick. Yeah, overall, just a great build. And it was very light too. The drip, amazing. I seriously love that build so much. Oh man, the Blaidd build. I kind of messed this one up because I power stanced Royal Greatswords for some reason. Just messing around. But I actually have used the Royal Greatsword on its own. I think this build is C tier now as well. Again, Crouch Poke got nerfed, but the weapon art on the Royal Greatsword hits like a truck. It is insane. The only issue is it's pretty easy to avoid. I think now you could still have a lot of fun with this build for sure. It's not unusable. It's not garbage. It's, you know, just middle of the pack. Oh yeah, as you guys may notice, I have a tier specifically for Varre, which I'm pretty sure is how you actually pronounce his name. I've been saying Varre for so long. This build, even after patch 1.07, I can tell you right now, is hot garbage. This build will always be garbage. It will never be good. Nobody will convince me that it's good. It sucks. It's bad. It's just awful. It's very bad. Okay, so the Bloodhound build, this is going to be another C tier. I wasn't super impressed, but I really wasn't disappointed. It's about what I expected, really. It hits decently hard. The claws are fast. You know, you can get bleed proc off. You can use Bloodhound Step if you want to. The weapon art, Bloodhound's Finesse on the Bloodhound's Fang, is solid. It's really easy to parry, though, but it's not too common that you're going to come across people trying to parry that. Fun build, for sure. Pretty flashy, but nothing crazy. Light roll Claymore, I mean, I have to put it in S. I have to. You have fast attacks, you have a fast poke, you're like lightning fast with your rolls. I love the Ronin Samurai drip. I think it's probably the cleanest in the game. It's just my personal favorite. Yeah, overall S tier, without a doubt. Okay, so the Cleanrot Knight build. I remember this build was very saucy. You can kind of just switch between the Cleanrot Knight sword, the Halo Scythe, and the Cleanrot Spear. Pretty sure all of those got buffed in the recent patch. A lot of fun. Very fun build. I think I'm going to put it A tier, though. Size still aren't the greatest. However, the weapon art on it, Miquella's Ring of Light, super good. Cleanrot Spear, I'm pretty sure, got buffed. At the time, it wasn't great. I think just normal spears are a bit weak. But if you go the Halo Scythe and the offhand Cleanrot Knight sword route, tell you what, man, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Okay, the Crucible Knight build. I love this build with all my heart. Now, after the buffs, I'm telling you, this cosplay build, all right, is 1000% top tier. Easily. I mean, people are already talking about how Ordovis's greatsword alone is just SS tier. It's ridiculous. I've gone up against it, and the weapon art is insanely fast now. Hits like a truck. Telluria's tree got buffed too. The shield is good. All the spells are really good and a lot of fun to use. Now, see, if I'm talking from personal experience, I'd say it's more A tier. After the buffs though, and after having seen videos of the buffs to this stuff, just know it's most likely an S tier now. I can guarantee you it is. But for now, I'm just going to keep it in A because I haven't touched this stuff since the last time I used it. So, okay. If I'm being real, this build was so toxic. This was like my Cupid / bow only build. Light rolling with a bow is so toxic. I kind of just want to put this in D tier. And there are just direct counters to bows, except not everybody's going to carry those counters on them all the time. And with light roll, it can just be so hard to rush somebody down whose whole purpose of their build is to just stay away from you. I'm going to put this in D tier, honestly. Bow only builds are genuinely just one of those builds where you go up against it and you're like, ew, 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 ew. Oh, the death build. This is D tier. This is 1000% D tier. Fun to use, yes, but it was a total gimmick. All the spells had very, very long windup. The Rosus Axe, if you could bait somebody in and correctly time the weapon art, it just deletes their health bar. It's a total gimmick though. It's not hard to avoid. Not really much to say there. The thing that carried this build was just the overall aesthetic of it. It's still D tier though. Okay, I literally have to put this in S tier. Little story behind this build. This was my dexterity build video, and I just went with dual great knives. All right, it's fun. Dual daggers are fun, man. You know, you're kind of just a blender. However, with this, I used two weapon arts that I had never used before that were apparently really broken. And then after I used them, I realized how broken they were. One of those was Beast Roar. The other one was Storm Stomp. At the time, this build was actually unstoppable. You just Storm Stomp, blender them. They try spacing you out. You just Beast Roar. It was pretty BM. Super fun build to use though. Scummy nonetheless. Okay. All right, so the Dung Eater one. Okay, no, I'll actually talk about this. So the Draconic Sentinel build, I want it to be good so bad. I want it to be. Even with the absurd buffs to endure, it's still garbage. You're a complete turtle. This is basically knockoff Havel. It really depends on how you use it. You can win fights. With any of these builds, you can win fights. I'm going to make that clear. But it's more of what the weapons do that's the biggest disappointment. It is just so lame, and the Draconic Sentinels are such cool enemies. It makes no sense why they did the weapon so dirty. It's still F tier. I still hate it. I'll probably never use it again unless they literally get different Ashes of War for the weapons. So, Dung Eater. It's D or F tier. Even after the buffs to great swords, like even taking that into account, I think it's just bad. Shriek of Milos, to get the debuff on your opponent, they have to be pretty damn close to you. And also from Shriek of Milos, you do get the heavy attack buff. It's super slow, largely telegraphed. It's just not good. You're just a heavy boy with a great sword. Nothing really special there. And also, I just hate the Dung Eater. Ooh, okay. I need to think about this. I really need to think about this. Elemer of the Briar. I wasn't too good at using the weapon art at the time of recording this video, but I have experimented with the weapon more. It's insane. If you hit the weapon art, you have a successive attack buff, and Shard of Alexander can one-shot. Oh, wait, no. Okay, no. Hold on, no. It's S tier. I forgot why it's S tier. You know how the armor has like that barbed wire around it? And, you know, you can roll into people for chip damage. But for all you guys who don't know, it doesn't just do chip damage. It actually does aim punch. So somebody could correctly time their roll catch, except since you rolled into them, their attack will just miss. It's actually super cancer. You don't even have to wear the full armor set to get that effect either. That's the really cheese part. It's definitely an S tier build. Now, discounting the knowledge that I have now, it would probably be A tier, but just the aim punch from the armor makes it S tier. The Ensha build. Use gravity spells, use Lifesteal Fist on the Clinging Bone, right? Lifesteal Fist got buffs. It's really, really solid now. All right, it's really, really good. Well, I wouldn't say really, really good, but it's actually usable, and you'll hit it pretty consistently if you just get the timing and spacing down. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in B tier. The gravity spells are good for pressure. I'll give them that. And Ensha is one of my favorite characters in the game. I love his armor. And his armor does have a pretty cool effect where you can regen health whenever you're below like 18% or something like that. Just such a sick character. I think the aesthetics overall sort of carry it. But now with the buffs, I think this build could maybe even... no. I think it's good where it's at. Okay, this build flew under the radar, I think, for a lot of people. I use like the Great Horn Hammer, I think it's called, and the Cypher Pata. And on the Great Horn Hammer, I use Golden Land. That Ash of War is so cracked. It's an AoE that spawns projectiles. There's even initial hits whenever you hit the ground. If you guys want to see it in action, it's ridiculous. Golden Land is stupid. And then the Cypher Pata with Unblockable Blade, I'm going to tell y'all right now, very, very fun to use. And against anybody using a shield, you know, just using a turtle build, Unblockable Blade is great. Very, very fun build. All right, I like where most of these are at right now. I think I could change a couple, but at the end of the video, if there's any fixes that I want to do, I'll do them. Oh boy, the Fire Giant, huh? This is a tough one to rate because people were jumping off Main Academy Gate whenever I'd summon them in. Most likely because they didn't want to fight a whip. I'm pretty bad at casting, but I know that these spells are solid. I think I'm gonna go C tier. I think it's honestly a C tier build. Whips aren't overpowered. They're just simply the most annoying class of weapon to fight. And then, yeah, the spells, I think they're just geared more towards like PvE and invasions. In duels, they can kind of fall a bit flat. That's just my personal opinion, though. I know there's some casters out there who are like, no, dude, these spells are so good, no. But I mean, I just don't really see it. Now, let's say I was to use this build now with improved light roll, with this whip. It's very, very toxic. So I'm gonna, I don't know. I was gonna put this in C tier. I think it's B tier though. I think you can put in a lot of work. Okay, here's the thing. The Sir Gideon Ofnir build, low key, could be like up here. There's one glaring flaw with it, and I'm still actually angry about this. This is sort of like the Draconic Tree Sentinel thing going on, where they completely drop the ball on the Scepter of the All-Knowing, Sir Gideon's main weapon. Why is it not a dual catalyst for incantations and sorceries? Why can you not use it as that? You already have to have like a really stupid stat split to use this build. I just can't believe they dropped the ball. I can't believe that they dropped the ball like that. It should 1000% be a catalyst for both sorceries and incantations. That's pretty much all I have to say. The only reason why it's not an F tier is because the build genuinely is usable and pretty fun to use. I'm actually just so disappointed about the Scepter. That's it. Oh, the Bull Goat build. Invasions are a different breed, man. See, most of these are dual builds. Like, I use them in duels. I think it's a B tier. I think the Bull Goat build's a B tier. Walk in, ground slam people. It was genuinely a hilarious build to use. And invasions overall, I don't really take them that seriously because it's just anarchy. And this build definitely brought a bit more anarchy to the table. It was a pretty good experience. Even though I'm not a big invasion guy, it was good. Number one, to this day, this is number one, the Godfrey build, bro. So yeah, at half health, I would switch from first stage Godfrey, you know, with his axe and his armor, and then I'd be light loading and switch to fist weapons with Horlu's Earthshaker. This build was so much fun to use. Nothing bad about this build. Also, I believe that a lot of opponents genuinely enjoyed fighting this build too. Godrick. I did treat this as more of a meme build, obviously, because Godrick is a total meme, even in the lore. His axe, Grafted Dragon, it's a flashy, cool weapon, but it's really not that effective, like, at all. It was funny, but that's really all it has going for it. If any of you guys have used Godrick's axe or the Grafted Dragon, you know exactly what I mean. It's goofy, but not good in any way. Ooh, gravity build? Yeah, this is C tier. This is like as mid as you can get, really. Gravity spells, again, as I said, for the Ensha one, good for pressure. The Meteoric Ore Blade, it's a fun time. Gravitas is not a bad Ash of War. Oh, I really love the fashion that I put together for this build. I think it fits perfect. Ooh, okay. Mad underrated. This build, and especially now, because the bestial spells got buffed, you got a dagger with quick step, you're basically untouchable, and you have light load. And with the bestial spells, you have a tool for basically any range. Like, just seriously underrated. Even in like my own head, like I don't think about this build a lot, but anytime, you know, I'm kind of just like scrolling through my old videos, checking out numbers, whatever, I come across this video, I'm just like, damn, this build was solid. Ooh, Jerren. C tier. Oh, hold on. No. This is not C tier. This is another one that's so underrated. So yeah, you have the Flamberge with Flaming Strike. Flaming Strike by far is one of the best Ashes of War in the game, if not the best Ash of War for PvP. It's basically just, oh, you want to get near me and try something? Okay. Oh, you want to roll into me to try to dodge it? Say hello to the lingering hitbox and you're taking guaranteed damage. And the Flamberge is just a good sword all around. It does bleed. And then you have the magical Glint Blade spell to put pressure on your opponent, and you can even get true combos with it. This build's severely underrated, even in my own head. Kind of like the Gurranq one. Juno Hoslow build. This build is so toxic. Dual whips, one with frost, one with bleed, and then you have Bloodhound step. That's right, Juno Hoslow was the meta before the meta was even a thing. In terms of effectiveness, I mean, dude, it could honestly just go S tier, but just the fact how toxic and not fun it is to really use, I think I'm gonna put it down with C tier, because I mean, the effectiveness can't be understated, right? If you guys haven't seen that video and you want to see what I'm talking about, just go check it out. It's so stupid. It's actually so dumb. Ooh, the Loretta build, baby. That's going in B tier. I really do love this build. The War Sickle is awesome. The Silver Mirror Shield is really good too. I love the armor. Loretta's Slash got buffed. If you guys saw my patch 1.07 video, I tried that out. Super good. Lot of range, lot of damage. It true combos at very, very high poises. Genuinely really, really good build though, and the fashion is awesome. I just love the look of it. Okay. Yeah, we're being real, guys. Okay, we're being real. It's a D tier build. Is it fun to use? Yes. Is it flashy? Probably the most flashy build in the game. Now, the weapon art does shred. I'll give it that. And I know Scarlet Aeonia has gotten some buffs. I just don't know. I just can't see this build being that insane for PvP. You have to like royally mess up to get hit by the Waterfowl Dance weapon art or Scarlet Aeonia. Like, you have to mess up very, very hard. Except, I mean, I could maybe bump it up to C tier because the drip is cool. Malenia is dope. And it is very satisfying to hit anything from this build, honestly. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna bump it up a bit. It's gonna be C tier. Okay, so I'm gonna do a redo on this build. I have talked about it recently. It was pretty bad at the time. It was just bad. Like, there's no way around that. The Black Blade spell sucked. Destined Death, the weapon art sucked. Oh my god, and I still remember before Crouch Poke was even meta, I was like testing out the attacks and I was like, okay, wait, this might be the best attack for you to use on a weapon like this. You know, the crouching or rolling attack. Oh, it's really good. Little did I know, right? And I think I left out the bestial spells, which probably got it this rating. But considering that I'm going to be doing a redo on it in the near future, I'm just going to keep it in D for now. Okay, so the Mohg build, I'm pretty sure the weapon art got nerfed. However, I'm still going to say this is like a B tier build. It's solid. You have a great spear. You have access to bleed and blood flame. The aesthetics are cool. Not really a lot I can say. I'm sure most of you guys know the dealio with this build. Morgott, boom, easy. There's no debate about this. Even though the stat spread was really, really weird. I mean, I had Carrion Slicer, Gavel of Haima, and then Morgott's Cursed Sword. And God, dude, Morgott's Cursed Sword claps. It goes hard. It goes very, very, very hard. This is probably going to be a build that I redo just because I loved it so much. And I think it's one of the few 10 out of 10s that I have on the channel. So yeah, it's definitely going up there. Oh, I mean, this build alone should be in a tier of its own. Light load plus Frozen Needle and the Impaling Thrust buffs. Like, Impaling Thrust was not good whenever I was using this build, but now Impaling Thrust is insane. This build seriously deserves to be in a tier of its own. That's not a joke. You get the Icicle projectile on the Frozen Needle, so you can punish literally anything from a decent range, and people just won't be able to touch you because you have light load. Thrusting swords, as we all know, are insane. They've been insane. People get close to you, you can just spam light attack, frost proc. Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing else I can say about this. If you guys have seen the video, you know what I'm talking about. This build is diabolical, people. Ooh, Commander Niall. I mean, it's Veteran's Armor, Veteran's Prosthesis, Commander Standard. Veteran's Prosthesis with Storm Kick hits like a truck. Like, if you hit somebody with that, like the initial part where you jump up into the air, it's kind of like Storm Assault. You jump up into the air, wind sort of forms around you. They'll get hit by that wind, probably panic roll. You come down, just skewer them. It's so good. And then Commander Standard, roll catches for days. It's a halberd. Not really much to say there. And Commander Niall is an absolute legend. Okay, so Knight's Cavalry build. So on this build, I messed around with like a lot of different Ashes of War, so I'm not really going to go into detail about those. However, the weapons, the Knight Rider flail is hot garbage. It will always be garbage. I don't understand why it's not bigger. However, it does have the Knight Rider glaive, so I think I'm going to put this in B tier. It's severely weighed down by the Knight Rider flail, except it is completely carried by the Knight Rider glaive. So, ooh, my Occult build. I definitely have a sweet spot for this build. Spectral Lance and Lifesteal Fist have both seen buffs. Starfist, perfect for an Occult build. Naginata, pretty solid for an Occult build as well. You get Bleed, except it's not like an absurd amount of Bleed proc. You get Lifesteal, you get a ranged option with Spectral Lance. I'd say it's a B tier build for sure. I think now it could maybe even bump up to A tier. Ooh, the Okina build, my only other invasion video other than the Bull Goat. I'd put this in B tier. This was old Rivers of Blood, so obviously it was stupid cracked. However, it got nerfed into the ground and then buffed slightly in the most recent patch. Oh yeah, and then I had the Wakizashi on it, but I couldn't hit a parry to save my life. For all you parry people out there, you'll probably have a blast with it. I do love the drip though. I love the white reed armor. It's super, super dope. Patches. Let's be real. Let's be real. It was D tier. I think with new and improved kick, you know, it'd probably be C tier, but no, this build sucked. The only thing that you know, was carrying it was the fact that it was funny and I was trying to kick people off of the elevator, which I did do. So just for that, I'm putting it in S tier. No, I'm just kidding. It was basically like the Godrick build. It just didn't even perform that well, but it was hilarious. Lightning Ram. Do I need to say more? Okay, so whenever I look back on this Placidusax build, it's hovering around C or D tier. It's usable. It's very, very flashy. Okay, yeah, no, it's C tier. It's C tier. It has one of the coolest weapon arts, very cool spells. I think I did a really decent job with putting this build together. However, in practice, you know, I mean, Placidusax is Ruin. You can get that AoE off the start, which is cool. Thundercloud form hits like a truck, but can be very, very hard to hit. However, the Dragon Crag Blade is, it's a solid weapon. It's not bad. Oh yeah, and then I use the red lightning spells too. And in duels, I think that was my first mistake, was using this in duels. But in duels, those spells really do fall flat. Unless there's a bunch of lag and then you can't tell whenever it's going to hit you and like whenever you're going to roll. And then you just get like hit by it and it's kind of stupid. This one might get a redo in the future though. Who knows? Okay, so now the poison build that I did, I think this is an A tier build. You know, if I were to use this again, it'd probably be S tier. But from my experience, it was A tier. It was really good. Very fun build to use. I think Poison Moth Flight, at the time, no one used it. And whenever you whipped it out on an opponent, they kind of freak out and have no idea what was going on. But of course, you had to hit Poison Moth Flight after they were already poisoned for it to be effective, which really was like a lot of the fun, you know? Ooh, the Radagon build. D tier. Was it fun to use? Yes, but hammers suck. and the weapon art on it, I can't even remember what the weapon art's called. It's been so long. If you got hit by that weapon art, it was entirely your fault. It took no skill from me. It just straight up wasn't good. The spells were like the main redeeming quality of the build. Pretty fun to use. Radahn, you have yourself in a solid B tier. So as you guys probably know, Radahn's swords are a dual weapon, where if you two-hand it, you actually get 2 of them. Super sick. I love the Radahn armor. I love the Radahn weapons. I love the Radahn boss. Like, you take a look at all these builds. The Radahn one was the Genesis, man. Actually, yeah, screw it. I have too much of a soft spot for this build. It's going up in A tier. The Ruins Greatsword build. I love this weapon. Of course, I was using old crouch poke on it. Now it's probably not as good. The weapon art hits like a truck. Easily free aimable. The build was funny too, due to the fashion choices that I made. I just had all the chainmail armor. That's the thing about these UGS builds, is I have to take into account the fact that they nerf crouch poke. It's probably C tier now, honestly. Oh no. This is one build that I actually felt awful about using. Power Stancing, Serpent God's Curve Swords, Wild Strikes, War Cry, Heavy Affinity, 99 Strength. I genuinely, and I mean this, I can't put this anywhere else. This build was so stupid. If I landed 1 roll catch, it was just like over 1,000 damage. If you haven't seen it, I don't even know if I'd recommend go watching it. You're gonna be like, Monk, why? Okay, so the Spartan build, I think this is it is a shield poke build. And if you can actually put the Erdtree Great Shield to use, you know, deflect magic back at people, it literally renders mages into completely useless, and it hits like a truck too. This was really fun. I love the fashion. This was actually a fan-made build too that I had to cut out of a build submissions video because the recording messed up. Shout out to Matthew, aka High Five Bomber. And really just amazing tools at your disposal with this build, for sure. Okay, so the Andrew Tate build. This is my most controversial video by far. You know, it was for memeing purposes. I just wanted to have some fun and, you know, poke a little fun at Andrew Tate. Some people were happy with it, some weren't. If you'd like, you can go take a look at the comments. But from how good the build actually was and how much fun it was to use, it was solid. It was definitely just, you know, hovering around B or C. Nothing really much to say. I used Barbaric Roar on the Cestus, and yeah, that was really it. It was fine. Obviously, the cosplay kind of carries it. Oh, yeah, Tree Sentinel. So, yeah, this is going to go up with the Spartan one because it's arguably better than the Spartan one. You get a lot heavier armor. You still have the Erdtree Great Shield, and then you get the Golden Halberd, which is honestly better than the Partisan Spear. I think it's still hovering around the same tier, though, because, you know, if people know what they're doing, the Erdtree Great Shield is useless, and it's kind of useless if you're not going up against a mage. So I would put this, frankly, just above the Spartan build, but I think they're pretty close. All right, Saint Trina build. I mean, you know, none of these are necessarily ordered in these tiers, but, I mean, dude, this is in a league of its own almost, because if we're being real, power stancing Saint Trina swords is the most overpowered thing in duels, next to dual Vike spears. I had a lot of fun with this build. The drip was insane. I had like the glitch purple cape on the Beast Champion armor. I think I killed it with the overall aesthetics. I'm very actually like proud of this build until I used it and realized how just absurdly broken it was. I mean, yeah, power stancing Saint Trina swords, it's busted. You can mash R1 out of hit stun, get sleep, delete their health bar. That's the end of the duel. For everybody who has used Saint Trina swords, you know that. Ooh, Bargram. I still say with or without crouch poke. It's B tier. The weapon art on the Godslayer Greatsword hits like no other. The weapon art isn't the easiest to hit though, and without crouch poke, I think it's slightly less strong. I think with it, it's probably up here, but without it, right in the middle. Okay, Vike. You have the spear, you have the spells. Easy to proc Madness. You proc Madness once, you basically win. It's broken, but I mean, it's S tier nonetheless. I can't deny that. These two are basically the same. They're very cheese. They're very OP, but so much fun to use. Aesthetics are A1. Yeah, both of these builds are just stupid cracked. The Vike one, you know, I was using it early on, so I didn't really know what I was doing. But now if I were to go back and use this build, I don't think I would lose a fight. Same with the Saint Trina one. Oh yeah, my Watchdog sword. Oh man, this was one that I think people genuinely disliked me a little bit after I uploaded this video, because let's just say I excelled at crouch poke. If I crouch poked, I really wouldn't lose, because my specific playstyle, it's aggressive and read heavy, and that's perfect for crouch poke. I love the build, and this was the first video that I came across the lift mechanic, but I can't really take that into account. Honestly, yeah, this is same with like the Ruins Greatsword. I think it, like, both of these would be so much higher if crouch poke didn't get nerfed. All right, guys, so the final build is the most recent one on this channel, and it is the Visage Shield build that I did. This build is S tier. It's toxic, it's funny, it has a light load. The Visage Shield melee attacks actually do really solid damage. You can stun lock people with the flame that it spews. I think it's called Tongues of Fire. And yeah, you can just stun lock people like very easily. And the weapon art does fat damage if you have Shard. So it's super, super toxic, a lot of fun, very BM. And I love it. I genuinely, and this is even in the title of the video, I'm not sorry for using this build. If you think I am, you're poorly mistaken. I loved using this build. I loved it so much that this has become a personal build for me. I will continue to use this in my off time, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't think there's any builds that I want to change. There are some that I definitely need to redo, like Maliketh, Crucible Knight. I think Radahn is honestly deserving. I might do an invasion one as Radahn. I feel like that'd be fun. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it for today's video. Did you guys like this style of video? Do you guys want me to do more tier lists? Are there any of these placements that you disagree with? Anything that you want to let me know, just comment it down below. And as always, if you would like to see more content from this channel, you can always click that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for all the recent support. You guys are the best. Oh, and by the way, Rennala cosplay coming Friday. See ya.